Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to TCR Trinity Competitive Racing. This is Season 10 once again, and this is the Golden Class here for Round 7 in the Spanish Grand Prix at Barcelona, Catalunya. It is one hell of a track to drive, and actually I enjoy this one a lot. Last night here, I dropped all the way back to the back of the grid and managed to recover, and I think it's something that's quite easy to do here with the DRS zone that you have a couple of DRS zones that you have enabled, and also with these cars this year, it's just they are monsters around here, absolute monsters. So with you guys tonight in the booth is myself, BLIN-MACHINE, and alongside me again is Chatty Duck. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Blin. It's good to be back with you again in the commentary box for the Spanish Grand Prix. Quite a technical track, this one. Certainly in real life Formula 1, quite difficult to overtake on, but as you mentioned, a bit easier in the game with the long pit straight with DRS and overtake button activated. So hopefully we'll see some good overtaking and some good action out on track tonight.
We definitely saw some good action last night in the silver class, and just rewatching back on the stream, I noticed that there was a lot of drama in the last lap. So like you mentioned, in real life it would be very hard to overtake here and stick around with somebody, but on this new game and with the DRS zones and the overtake, you can definitely stick and possibly overtake some people. I'm watching Osio right now. He's currently 4th in the championship, tied with Bam Bam at 55 points, and he is setting a purple second sector as we speak right now, as he's going through turns 12 and into turn 13, and then only the chicane of 14 and 15 to go, and then just the right-hander of turn 16 for the last one to complete this one. Golden Raider so far is on the provisional pole with 1:16.0, but that is definitely gonna be improved there. Oh, it looks like Osio had to abandon that lap. That was very unfortunate. Let's see if Bam Bam is gonna be completing his lap. He's just set the second sector into purple as well. But I was gonna ask Chatty Duck, around here, you know, you said it's a technical track, but what does it really take around here to be able to post good lap times in the race?
Well, I'd say this is one of the tracks where having a good car setup is just crucial. I did a few races on this track early on in the game cycle, and my setup wasn't quite right, and you could easily lose like 1 or 2 seconds around here if your setup is missing something. So that's really important, because if you don't have the setup, you'll just be losing time and thinking, how the hell am I losing like a second or two a lap to some people? But yeah, setup's really important here, and just, I mean, it's a bit easier for the guys, I think, to have regular corner cutting rules again rather than strict, because strict here is just punishing like some of those fast chicanes. It'll absolutely ruin you with corner cutting time penalties. So it's good for the drivers that they don't have to worry so much about that. I'm just on board with Chargers right now, and he's just going through the fast chicane of turns 7 and 8, which is one of the places where it will just kill you with time penalties. So that's a good thing for the drivers. But yeah, I think practice is just the main thing around here as well. You know, a track like this where there's lots of difficult corners, you just have to be comfortable with those corners and comfortable to do them for 33 racing laps as we have tonight.
And so far, Chargers is on the top step there with a 1:15.2. I'm watching on board with Stanley, who's been showing quite a bit of promise in the last few races. He's only joined 3 races ago, and he's already had 2 podiums with a 3rd place and a win in our last Grand Prix in Spa. So definitely I'm expecting Stanley here to deliver some more pressure on the rest of this class. I really like it when these drivers, brand new drivers or reserve drivers, come in from other leagues or other classes, and they just impress everyone. So it looks like Stanley is going to be coming into the pits and abandoning that lap, currently sitting in 5th with a 1:17.6. Mr. Joshua here has done 2 laps already on the set of soft tires. He's only posted a 1:19.0, and other than that, we don't have any other times on the board. Looks like some people are starting the lap right now with M9H Racing on board as he is coming into turn 1. Hard braking and a right-hander, but you got to sort of slide that car on that inside curve and then do the same thing on the outside curve of turn 2. And now he's coming around the really long turn 3 and into turn 4. A nice right-hander. He's actually purple in the first sector there, M9H Racing, so great job from him. And he's on a medium tire as well, which is very impressive to see. Let's see what sort of a time he's going to be posting through the end of the second sector now, as he's coming into turn 7 and 8 with regular track extension rules. We're allowing the drivers to use as much of that red and white curves on both the sides of that corner, as he's now through turn 9 and opens up the DRS and into turn 10. This is the hardest corner on the track, almost losing the back there. The car always wants to step out on you, and then turns 11 and 12 are no easier either. Now again into turn 13, gotta ride the inside curb there with the regular inside rules. With the track rules, it definitely allows you to ride that inside curb a lot more than you usually would. And now he's through turn 16 as well, opens up the DRS and comes across the line, and he's only going 5th at the moment with a 1:16.4, but with a medium tire, Chatty Duck, that is quite impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good time. And Bam Bam is also out there at the moment on mediums. Everyone else has opted for the soft tyre so far. And this M9H was kind of going over to the right-hand side of the track on the pit straight at the end of the lap. I don't know if that actually gains you any time or not, but either way, that appears to be the tactic that he's gone for. So good luck to him. And with that, and just watching Bam Bam, the other medium runner, he's coming through the final chicane now at the end of the lap, and just coming around the final corner, and the disqualification for Asio for going the wrong way, which is very strange. But there's Bam Bam 1:16.422, so a very similar time to M9H Racing there. He slots into 7th place at the moment.
Asio disqualified from the session. I think he spun and maybe didn't get back on track properly enough for the game to recognize it, but that is very unfortunate from him. But we are watching our championship leader, Flying Jippo, currently sitting in 2nd place as he is out there on another hot lap. He's currently sitting there with 90 points, but last race at Spa did not help him out at all. He came 11th and just outside of the points, so didn't gain anything from that race. In the meantime, Stanley, Aero Fizzed, and Seagrease as well all jumped quite a few positions in the last race, gained quite a few points on the championship leader and closed down that gap. So that gap to Seagrease now in 2nd is only 13 points. So that is just up there with 1st and 2nd places in terms of the points gaps.
Sorry, we just had a bit of an awkward moment. Arrow Fisten was on a flying lap, and Ben swerving was swerving on the track and kind of got in the way a little bit of Arrow, but I don't know how much time that's going to cost the Red Bull as he's coming through final few corners now into the straight.
Let's hope it's not going to be too much, as we are also watching Aerofizza right now as he crosses the line. Still stays in 3rd place, but I think he might decide to go push for another lap. Might possibly benefit him here. It looks like no, definitely not. So he still has enough time though. We're almost we've still got almost 8 minutes to go in the session,
and we've still got 5 drivers who haven't set a lap time yet. We've got Ben Swerven, ISRL Knight, Seagrist, TCR F1 Racer 85, and a name that I don't really want to try and pronounce. Is it Diego Out? I don't know. But those are the 5 guys who, as of yet, haven't set a time, and obviously Asio was disqualified. So, I wonder what the plan is for those guys going into the last 7 minutes of this qualifying session.
So, just watching here with Stanley as he's going out for another attempt. He abandoned his last attempt here, but he's currently still in 5th place and still on that medium tire, and abandoning this one again, going into the pits. I guess he just can't get a really good grip on those medium tires, but again, still good enough for 5th at the moment. M9H Racing is out there on a hot lap. Goldorator is coming through turn 4 right now. Doesn't look to be pushing too hard. Yeah, definitely not. Flying Jippo is out on an out lap, and Chargers is out on a hot lap as well, currently sitting in pole position with a 1:15.287. Quite a good time so far.
Yeah, I know that I have Flying Jip on my friends list, and I've seen on the time trial leaderboard that he's actually got a time in the 1:14s around here. Obviously, a short qualifying session is a bit different, as Chargers goes slightly quicker with a 1:15.169. So we've still got 6 minutes left to go in the session, so there's still going to be an element of track evolution, I would imagine. So it's possible that we could see a time in the 1:14s, or certainly a very low 1:15. Just wondering who's going to step up to the plate in these last few minutes.
Well, Chargers just improved to a 1:15.169, and Flying Jippo has just gone purple through the first sector. Now coming around turn 9 here, opening up the DRS, riding that outside curb quite a bit, and now he's going to be coming into turn 10, another purple sector by 2.4 tenths. So that's going to be not enough for 1:14s, but it's going to be possibly enough to beat Chargers. Flying Jippo now into turn 13. Very nice through there. 14 and 15 coming up right now. Beautiful through there as well. And now just the last corner to ride out here. You just got to get a good traction out, and DRS open up to the line. Flying Jippo 1:15.087. Just a blink away from those 1:14s, but what a beautiful lap from him there, and that is very impressive. Let's see who else we're gonna have here crossing the line shortly. So Joshua has just started his lap and also still running on that medium tire, so some of our drivers not giving up that medium hope, so that possibly they do only the one stop here today, although I'm not sure if that actually is going to work. Leave us your comments and leave us your predictions of who you think is going to be on the podium here tonight. Is this going to be the night when Flying Jippo makes his redemption from Spa, where it didn't go his way and he had an incident and lost out on a bunch of points there and a bunch of the gap that he had in the championship lead? Or is it going to be one of our possibly reserve drivers or new drivers here today? Or is it going to be Chargers that might steal the show here? He's being very, very quick right now, as he's currently coming into the pits with 3 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the qualifying session here today in round 7. It is bound to be a good one. Chatty Duck, let us know, what do you think is the best strategy for qualifying as well as for the race? Is it going to be the 2-stop, really? You can't avoid it here tonight? Or can you really go for a 1-stop and make it work?
I think you can go for a 1-stop round here. The only thing is, I'm thinking that you can't go from the mediums to the soft tyres later in the race. That's just my opinion. It might be possible. But I would think that really the optimal strategy here is soft tyres, starting on the softs and then going to the hards, or the other way around. If you start outside the top 10, maybe start on the hards and go to the softs. I don't think the mediums will get you far enough into the race to then be on the soft tyres, so if you start on the mediums, you'd probably have to go medium hards. But that's just my take on it. It'll be interesting to see what the guys go with out on track, and also of course safety cars and things like that could play into the strategy game as well. I'm just wondering, like, we've still got 5 guys who haven't set a time, and it seems that every time I jump on board with someone, they're finishing an out lap and jumping back into the pits, so I don't quite know what's going on at the moment. But we've got both Mercedes out, just starting out on track, so Segrist is getting out there.
Yeah, it might be the case that they are reserve drivers and they might not be able to qualify, although they do need to come out for an out lap so that they can set their setup and into the Parc Fermé rules. It might be the case here today. I definitely know that's the case with F1 Racer. Definitely not Z-Greased. He definitely needs to set a lap. Oh my god, I'm not sure what happened to him. ISRL Knight, pretty sure he's got a full-time seed by now as well, so he should be able to qualify here. We'll see if they'll be able to complete a lap. It looks like F1 Racer is pitting, but Knight is continuing on. Stanley is also continuing on, and he did go purple through the first sector, but not the second sector. And now just a few more corners to go here. F1 Racer is now retired from the session. Asio got disqualified earlier on, which was very weird and very odd. I've definitely never seen that before in qualifying session, but yeah, so he's going to be starting right at the back of the grid. Definitely not going to be happy with that. Stanley goes to pole position with a 1:14.778 on a brand new set of soft tires. So he finally decided to abandon those mediums. But even on the mediums, he was definitely turning some heads there with his times. But that was a beauty. 1:14.778 is now the new time to beat here. Let's see if anybody is going to come close to it. Chargers is just starting out his hot lap right now. Chatty, like, you want to walk us through his lap?
Oh, sorry, who are we on board with? Sorry.
Chargers, sorry.
Chargers, right, okay. So he's just gone through turns 1 and 2, and now the flat-out turn 3, the right-hander. He's sticking over to the right-hand side of the track, which can gain you a few hundreds through there. Braking late for turn 4, the right-hander, into 4th gear. And now up to 6th or 7th gear. He stayed in 6th gear now for this left-hander. 2nd gear corner, and again you can extend the exit out to the red and white curbs there. The fast chicane of 7 and 8. Again, the guys don't need to be so worried about corner cutting through there with regular corner cutting rules. Turn 9 is flat out, and then leads you onto the 2nd DRS straight off the track, and then heavy braking down to 1st gear for possibly the 2nd best overtaking spot on the track, that left-hander. Then that left-hand kink before this right-hander. That left-hand kink is pretty much flat out these days. And now the Sector 3 complex, the right and then the left-right slow chicane before the final corner, which is flat out. And onto the pit straight. Chargers on his soft tyres. What time can he set? A 1:14.774.
Oh my goodness, that's a sheet of paper in between those two. That is just crazy. And flying Jippo!
Fantastic.
1:14.749 from Flying Jippo there in the dying seconds. M9H Racing now about to cross the line. Looks like he's going to stay 6th with a 1:15.6. Mr. Joshua, he's definitely abandoned the medium tire and come out on a soft, but is it going to be just enough just at the dying end here? Knight has now retired, but he did set a lap, 1:21.5. Not quite quick enough, but he's going to be starting in 12th position here. Let's see what Joshua is going to do. He's going to go into the pits. So that, I think, is pretty much going to be our starting grid here today. Flying Jippo stealing the pole position just by, oh my goodness there. I can't even, find the words to describe how close that is. But also Chargers and Stanley coming within 0.004 of a second within each other. That is just ridiculous. Literally, you couldn't even fit a sheet of paper between those two.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Golden Class, and whenever I've commentated, the qualifying at the front has just been insanely close. Like, I remember China, we had 2 guys sitting the exact same time down to the 1,000th of a second, and then pretty sure at Japan we had a pretty close battle at the front for pole as well. And again here, 28 thousandths of a second separating the top 3 drivers, and 3 guys in the 1:14.7s, which is a pretty impressive lap time around here as well. So yeah, that's a good sign for the race ahead. We could have a pretty good battle for the win today between those 3 guys.
Yeah, it's definitely building up to be a close one. If it's going to be as close as qualifying was here today, we are definitely bound to have a really beautiful Grand Prix race tonight. Thank you everybody that's joining the race and everybody who's already joined the stream, and leave us a like, leave us more comments, share the videos, and subscribe of course if you haven't yet. And thank you so much for watching all of our videos. This is going to be a really good one. This is round 7 again of season 10 of TCR Trinity Competitive Racing, and you guys are watching the Golden Class here tonight at the Spanish Grand Prix in the Barcelona, Catalunya. And Flying Jippo, they're on pole position with a beautiful time of a 114. I think it was 749. Yeah, 114.749. Chargers very close behind in second, 114.774. Stanley 114.778. So just incredible. The gaps between the top three is only 29 thousandths of a second. That is incredible. We've got Aero Fizzed in fourth, Golden Raider in fifth, M9H Racing in sixth, Mr. Joshua seventh, Sea Grease 8th, You Having a Giggle in ninth, Bam Bam in 10th, Ben Swervin in 11th, ISRL Knight in 12th, and Diego F1 Racer. Those are both reserves, so they could not qualify, but Asio got disqualified early on in the session for going the wrong way on the track, and he's going to be right at the back of the grid.
Yeah, so quite a big gap between the front three and then the rest of the guys. So it's possible that we could see those three pull off into the distance in the early laps of this Grand Prix if that qualifying pace is anything to go by. But you have got the likes of Seagreased a bit further down on the grid who is starting on the medium tyres. Again, I do think you can pull off a one-stop here starting on the soft tyres, so I'm not sure if there's going to be much of an advantage in this race from starting on the mediums, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Alright, so our drivers right now are figuring out their strategy for this race and their fuel and their setup. You can only really change a couple of things in the setup, but maybe some last minute tweaks, and we're gonna get going here in just a minute. There's a few more people that have just joined the stream as well. Thank you guys so much. Let us know your predictions. Who you think is gonna be on the podium positions here tonight? You know, there's a lot of great drivers here. There's a lot of great potential, and there's a huge battle going on in the championship, especially for third place. The gap between third and sixth right now is only 6 points, and then the gap between third and seventh is only 10 points. So everybody pretty much within the top 10 are within only 70 points of each other. And if you're, you know, counting out Flying Jippo, who's a little bit of a gap ahead, if you're counting from third to 10th, that gap is only 35 points. So that is incredible. That can be very, very close here towards the end of the season. The predicted pit strategy on, predicted by Amazon is saying 2 stoppers going from soft to medium, or soft to medium hard. I really don't think anybody's going to elect to go for that one.
No, and I have raced here before, and it is possible to do the soft hard strategy. I just think that maybe the game doesn't recommend it. When you're on the grid, you have to kind of be assertive and select it yourself, perhaps. But yeah, soft medium could be a good option as well. You know, you're on certainly the quicker race tires for the entire race rather than the hards. Asio is the only man out there who has opted for the hard tyres, and he's starting in last place, so he'll be biding his time in the opening laps, I'd imagine, and just trying to stay out of trouble and reel off the laps on those tyres before he can switch to a quicker tyre compound later in the race. But everyone outside the top 10, apart from Asio, is on the medium tyres, so that's an interesting choice by those guys.
Well, let's see what happens here. They are on their warm-up lap, warming up their tires and their brakes right now. It looks like it's going to be a dry race by the weather, and the sky's not really looking like anything is going to happen. But again, that could change at any second. And yeah, that would be very exciting to see if we go from, sunny to a little bit of clouds or maybe some rain. But it looks like everybody within the top 10, of course, are starting on the tires that they were qualifying on. But then we've got everybody, Ben Swervin, Knight, Diego, and F1 Racer starting on the mediums, Asio on the hards. And that could get very, very interesting. We also have 3 medium runners within the top 10, which is very impressive in terms of times, and could also put another spin into this race here tonight. Thank you everybody who's watching. Let's get ready, grab your drinks and your popcorn and sit down comfortably. Let's see what happens here tonight for round 7 of Golden Class and season 10 of TCR. We're just getting started in a minute here.
Yep, here we go.
The lights are going on. 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And the lights finally go out and we go racing here in Spain, and it looks like a beautiful start there at the back from Bam Bam. He's rising through the positions. It looks like Chargers is trying to make a move down around the outside, but not enough on Flying Jippo. Stanley keeping the third position. There's a little bit of a battle there between M9H Racing and Golderator going on. They're almost side by side. Now Aerofizan has got, it looks like Bam Bam around him as well. Those two are battling. There's a little bit of side-by-side battles between them and also behind them. Bam Bam is really trying to attack on Aerofizan. He's not giving up. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. I'm not sure what oh no, Bam Bam going super deep there into turn, I think it was turn 6 or 5, and he hit the side of Golderator, lost the position to Aerofizan. Now Stanley is thinking about a move on M9H Racing as he got a little bit wiggly out of turn, I think it was 10.
Yeah, and at the back, ISRL Knight had a spin, so he's dropped to the back of the field. Asio had a great start. He's made up 4 positions. Or was that 5 positions? Well, he's gone from last place to 11th anyway on his hard tyres, so it's a great start for him in this Grand Prix.
Oh, you having a giggle, almost stopping the back of Bam Bam as they're fighting for 7th place right now. Bam Bam is right, he was right on the back of Aerofizan, but then he started losing some time and got a really bad exit there. Here goes you having the giggle and overtaking Bam Bam into 7th position. I know that the positions are a little bit screwed up right now on the lap standings, but yeah, he's still up there in 7th position. Bam Bam's still in 8th.
And Siegrist has pitted for a new front wing, so he's had some drama on the first lap. He's dropped to the back of the grid. He started on the mediums and he's put another set of mediums on, so that's not worked out well for Siegrist at all.
For a second there, you having a giggle was putting some pressure on Aerofizan, but then dropped a little bit of time. We've got a couple of trains already going on, but just like you predicted, Flying Jippo and Chargers are out there at the front, and they've got a 1.5 second gap down to M9H Racing, and then he's got the train behind him of Stanley and Golderator and Aero, and you having the giggle, and all of them pretty much sticking within a second or half a second of each other.
Yeah, so that was a great start for M9H. I mean, he started 6th and has found himself now up in 3rd position, but that's not good news for Stanley. He wants to be ahead of M9H and battling with the 2 guys up front. Flying Jippo setting a fastest lap of 118.5. By comparison, he's in the slipstream of M9H, but he's not going to be able to get the move done, or is he? Around the outside, going into turns 1 and 2. That was a great move from Stanley, but M9H is coming back on the inside. They're going side by side through turn 3, and they're still side by side now, but M9H does have the inside line, and they're still going side by side, but Stanley has, well, for a moment he slotted back in behind, but then he pulled out to make another move. They're still going side by side. Stanley is ever so slightly behind, and I think he has now backed out, although M9H has run wide. How long can these guys go side by side for? Surely not through that fast right-hander, but they've done it, and Stanley has got the move done and is up into 3rd place. Wow.
Oh my god, that was like ping pong. They were just back and forth, side by side. It was just amazing to watch, and a very good job for both of them for not hitting each other for all of that. That was very impressive. And right now, the gap between Flying Jippo and Chargers is now up to 2 seconds. So Flying Jippo is just running away with this one. Stanley, almost 3 seconds behind now.
Yeah, that's how much that battling cost him, and also just being behind M9H for the first couple of laps. He's lost touch pretty much now with those front 2 guys, so he's going to have to just keep his head down and hope that he can recover and catch up. He's nearly 3 seconds behind Chargers, who's another 2 seconds behind Flying Jippo, as you said before. So Stanley's got it all to do here if he wants to keep up his impressive record. Well, if he can stay on the podium, it'll still be impressive, but if he wants to win, he's got his work cut out for him today.
And as you mentioned, M98 Racing doing a very good job at the start, rising up 2 positions. Aero Fizzan unfortunately dropping 2 positions from 4th to 6th, so it's almost like M98 Racing and Aero Fizzan just switched positions because Goldorator started in 5th and they see he's still there. He is chasing down M98 Racing. He is within this DRS zone right now as well and doing a very good job of staying with him. Other than that, you have Giggle, Bam Bam, and Ben Swerven all rose 2 positions up from the start in the first 4 laps here, and Mr. Joshua has lost 3 positions. Osseo in 11th after having to start in 15th, and Zegrees dropping all the way back to the to 15th place. He started in 8th, but he had to go into the pits and change his front wing. Is Goldorator going to be close enough on this occasion to make a move on M98 Racing? There's a yellow flag in the 3rd sector there, but there goes Goldorator into 4th. M98 Racing cannot fight DRS on the straight there, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it was Diego in 14th position who I think had a spin in that in sector 3, which is why there was a yellow flag. So he's dropped down to 14th. Only Segrist is behind him now. But M9H, he got a great start. He has dropped back a couple of positions. And Arrow Fist is only half a second behind. So interesting to see how that battle develops.
Arrow Fist definitely wants to recover some of those positions he lost. All of the soft tire runners are all now running from 1st to 7th, and then we've got mediums and the one hard runner in 11th. So already we've got a nice little mix of strategies because I think we had that's exactly the exact same top 10 that we had, but Mr. Joshua not doing very good off the start, as where Bam Bam is still hanging on to that 8th position right now. So this could turn out to be very interesting. There goes You Having a Giggle. He's the first soft runner to pit on lap 6. So the other runners must be saying, okay, these tires are still okay. I can still take them for a couple more laps, maybe one more. They're thinking the overcut might work here. What do you think, Chatty Duck?
Yeah, I think that was You Having a Giggle just saying, well, I don't seem to have great pace at the moment, so let's get off these soft tyres, because he was holding up a train of about 4 or 5 cars from Bam Bam all the way down to Osseo. So I think that for the rest of those guys on the softs, they've maybe got another 2 or 3 laps that they can stretch out this stint. And You Having a Giggle has pitted onto the medium tyres now.
Arrow Fizzan within 4/10 of a second of M9H Racing and trying to get over or go around him as soon as possible. He can definitely pull ahead if he gets the chance. It looks like he's got a little bit of extra pace right now on M9 Racing in 6th place and fighting for that 5th position. But Goldorator in front of them is also, oh, there goes into the pits M9H Racing and Goldorator. So they are pretty much saying that one more lap is enough. That is possibly going to give you an overcut that you're looking for. Let's see if that is going to work. Now Aero Fizzan is back into 4th position where he originally started, so he'll be pretty happy with that. And if he can keep this tire working for this lap, he might be able to do the overcut. We will have to wait and see. So now we've had quite a few people, I think it was 3 people from the soft tires that have now pitted, and 4 more to go. Flying Jippo Chargers and Stanley and Aero Fizzan. Flying Jippo 3.7 seconds ahead of Chargers, Stanley 2.8 seconds behind them, and then Aero Fizzan 2.2 seconds behind as well. So pretty much everybody in the top 6 are now pulling out pretty big gaps on each other, but then we have some action going on here with Osseo in 8th trying to overtake Van Swerven.
Yeah, and I think Osseo could well be a man to watch now in this race, because he's on the hard tyre, which is the slowest compounded tyre, but he's been keeping up quite comfortably with the likes of Joshua and now Ben Swerven. And if more of the soft, I mean, Flying Jippo is now pitting from the lead of this race, so he's done 6 laps on the soft tyres. These guys in the on the mediums and hard tyres, they have got a good chance in this Grand Prix now, because I'm pretty sure that the guys who started on those softs, who have pitted onto the mediums, they're pretty much committing to a 2-stop now. And we've got another yellow flag in the 3rd sector. not sure who that. I think it's Diego has had another spin, unfortunately. But yeah, and like Asio's pace on those hards at the moment is very impressive, I have to say.
If he holds on to them for long enough, he might be able to even possibly get up to the lead of the race when everybody makes their pit stops. I think on the medium tires, how long can you really go? About 14 or 15 laps or so?
Yeah, around that, and I think, you know, with the hards you can certainly make it to sort of the 20-ish lap mark, I would say. And the other thing about the hards as well is that they kind of get a second wind of performance sort of later on in the stint, I find. Well, certainly if you have them on at the end of the race when you've got a light fuel load. So yeah, I'm very interested to see how Asio gets on now.
We have a yellow in the second sector. It looks like that's Diego again, and Aero Fizzed has now made it up to second position. I didn't see what happened to Stanley there, but now Stanley is going into the pits, and he is going to be another soft runner that's going to pit, and he gets a 5-second penalty. He's got a puncture. He's got a puncture on his front left tire. I didn't notice, but look at that tire wobbling around.
Yep. Yeah, and just watching his pit stop, there's no wing change, so that is just a puncture from tyre wear, presumably. So it's a dramatic development, and now we've got Aero Fizzed is the only man still out there on the soft tyres who started on the soft tyres. So I wonder if he saw what happened to Stanley and is now thinking, I really need to nurse this car back to the pits and not suffer a puncture as well.
Yeah, and this is now allowing, it looks like, Ben Swerven, Joshua, and Bam Bam to start closing up that gap. Aero is just making it to the end of the second sector, so just one more sector to go to make it back to the pits. If he makes this work, I'm not sure if he's gonna get an overcut or he's gonna come out right into the heat of things here. We will have to wait and see. Is he gonna jump into the pits on this lap? He must, after seeing what happened there.
Yeah, surely he has to pit now.
And he doesn't.
And as I say that, he carries on.
Wow, so we're gonna wait very carefully to see what happens to him, but now Mr. Joshua is within the DRS zone of Bam Bam on the start-finish straight on lap 10 of 33 here. Flying Jippo setting the fastest lap with a 118.0. Very nicely from him on the medium tire. Bam Bam locking up a little bit that inside tire into turn 1. But still managing to get a pretty good exit there, running a bit wider than Joshua is right now, and that is allowing Joshua to close in. He's within 0.4 of a second there. That is a very good job from Joshua. Let's see how much pressure he'll be able to apply on Bam Bam here. And Aero Fizzed, of course, as I said, he's still continuing on those soft tires. Let's take a look from on board with him and check them out. That front left definitely looks like there is some blistering going on it.
Yeah, and he set a 120 on the last lap, so he's a couple of seconds slower a lap than his teammate Flying Jippo. So I would think surely this time around he is going to pit. Although again, I mean maybe he was the only driver starting on the softs who did plan to do a one stop, so he could just have been extending his stint out to get onto the hards, and he is pitting now.
And there's a nice little battle going on behind them for all of those people who are going to inherit this position now. It's going to be Bam Bam in the lead, Mr. Joshua in second, Ben Swerven in third. And look at Asio. He's made his way up to 4th place after having started in the last place after being disqualified in the qualifying session. That was very unfortunate for him, but those hard tires are doing him a very, very good job as he is up into 4th place, and he's sticking right to the back of this train that's currently going on for what is currently the lead of the race. But of course, Flying Jippo only 1/10 behind him.
Flying Jippo down the inside of Asio, so he's taken 4th place away from the McLaren driver. And that could be quite a crucial move, actually, because if Asio is on a one stop, then that's pretty much a move, an overtake for the lead of the race.
And here he goes for 3rd now on Ben Swerven into turn 10. That is very, very close. They're still side by side as they go up the hill into turn 11, and it looks like Flying Jippo is going to take that position. Very nice overtake from Flying Jippo on Ben Swerven, taking 3rd position. He is pretty much the overall lead of this race right now. If he is able to overtake Mr. Joshua and Bam Bam here, he's only within 9/10 of a second of Bam Bam, so he can definitely retake the lead of the race here. And just in the next couple of laps, Ben Swerven is now gaining a lot of time down the start finish straight into turn 1. There goes Mr. Joshua on Bam Bam as well, overtaking him for the current lead of the race. So that is just switched around here. This race is starting to heat up now with everybody making their pits and coming back onto the track, and now everyone is battling for that top step.
Yes, and Chargers, he pitted onto the hard tyres, so I would imagine that he has committed to a 1 stop, and Arrow, who went 9 laps on his soft tyres, has pitted onto the mediums, so I'm not sure if that's going to work as a 1 stop. I think he probably is still doing a 2 stop strategy, so he just did a long stint on those soft tyres at the start of the race.
Oh my god, Flying Jippo down the inside of turn 10 on Bam Bam, and he's up into 2nd place. But right before that, as they were coming around turn 9, he touched the gravel on the outside. He almost lost the car, so that was very impressive recovery from him, and just the amount of focus it takes from going to almost losing the car to then doing an overtake, very impressive.
Yeah, it looks like Flying Jippo has great confidence around here so far. He's just taking it to all the other drivers. Admittedly, the guys around him right now are on much older tyres, much more worn than his current set of mediums. And he's closing in now on Mr. Joshua to take the lead of the race back on lap 13.
And I'm watching on board with ISRL Knight, who's trying to take 4th position away from Osseo. This battle has been going on now for a couple of corners. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. It looks like it's for a Renault. Is that Stanley who has had something happen to him?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but it's around turn 2, so maybe he got on the curb of turn 2 and it just took him for a spin, which that curb really can do, and now he's going side by side with Seagrease, battling for the last point playing position at the moment. So Stanley is not having a great race after the promise he showed in qualifying.
Flying Jippo closing up that gap on Mr. Joshua. ISRL Knight still battling for 4th position with Osseo. This is now turning out to be a very interesting race, and I can't really predict what's going to happen here because, you know, when this racing gets so close, it also gets a little bit more dangerous. Here comes Flying Jippo on the start-finish straight with the DRS open, with possibly no overtake, not even using that. He's only down to 14%, but he's up into 1st place again, retaking the lead of this race, and now he is the overall leader. The only thing that can topple him from now on, I think, is probably going to be a 1-stop strategy if anybody can make it work and make it quick.
Yeah, he's how far ahead is he? He's 2.8 seconds ahead of Osseo, but both Jippo and Osseo have 1 more stop to make, so Flying Jippo does have the position over Osseo. And Chargers is the interesting one at the moment. He's on 4-lap-old hards, and if he can get that to the end of the race, he will need to keep within around 20 seconds, I guess, of Flying Jippo in order to come out ahead of Flying Jippo when he makes his 2nd stop. So for Flying Jippo now, he's overtaken all the traffic. It's time for him to get the hammer down. And
and ISRL Knight there made us move on Osseo, and then he just had a moment. And now he's come back on the track and he's caused an incident there. Who was it that crashed into him?
Was it M9H, perhaps? I'm not sure. I was on board with ISRL. I didn't really see the car. And
we have a safety car on track now. Oh my goodness, this has now spun things around. We've got a lot of people into the pits. Golda Raider, M9H Racing, Aerophysed, Chargers, Joshua, Ben Swerven, all of them coming in. It looks like Osseo and Flying Jippo were not close enough to be able to pit. They were already past the finish line, so they have to continue on with their tires. But who do you think this is going to play in favor of right now?
Well, I've just gone on board with Bam Bam, who pitted a lap ago for hard tyres, so that's worked out fantastically for him. He's made up quite a few positions and gone up to 6th place. But that's a nightmare for Flying Jippo and Asio, the two guys who were already past the pit lane entrance when that safety car came out. And, well, pretty much everyone behind them has pitted and is on fresh tyres. So those guys, wow, that's really shaken up this race.
So from what I was able to see in that incident, it looks like ISRL Knight tried to make a move on Asio right into, it was like turn 6 or 7 there. He had a little bit of a tap on his side pod, and that sort of spun him out a little bit. And as he came back onto the power, the car straightened out, but then it just completely twitched out on him and went straight into the wall. I think he left the session at that point when the AI took over. The AI backed backwards onto the track and blocked the way of, I think it was either M9H Racing or somebody. Now M9H Racing also gets a speeding penalty under the safety car. I'm not sure how that would be possible, but that is very unfortunate for M9H Racing. It looks like his race there got a little bit out of hand, and it was really at no fault of his own. Now Asio and Flying Jippo have come into the pits. Asio comes back out in 3rd. Flying Jippo has managed to keep the lead of the race.
Yeah, so what's actually happened here? Because I was thinking that Flying Jippo and Asio were going to lose a load of places, but the safety car, it came out after Flying Jippo and Asio had gone past, so they took another lap to catch up to the safety car, and everyone on track at that time had to keep to their delta, which is the reason why Flying Jippo has held on to the lead and why Asio has stayed in 3rd place. And that's also the reason why M9H got his drive-through penalty, I'd imagine. He must have been in the red on his delta time, which of course will give you a penalty for speeding under speeding under safety car conditions. So this has actually worked out reasonably well for Flying Jippo and definitely for Asio. The man who started in 15th place is now in 3rd. He is on the medium tyres, and we do have more than half of this race to go, so it'll be interesting to see if he can get those to run to the end of the race. Well, I'd imagine it's possible, because, I mean, Flying Jippo has done the same thing, although almost everyone else has gone for the hards.
This has just gotten a lot more interesting. We are here on lap 16 of 33. We had a safety car conditions. We had a weird little safety car that sort of played out into Flying Jippo and Asio's hands, as Chatty Doug just mentioned. But keep your comments coming in, guys. Thank you, everybody who's still watching the stream. And wow, this is just so unexpected. But I mentioned it at the start. You know, this is one of those tracks. It somehow always just gives birth to a comeback, and we've got one going on right now with Asio, who got disqualified from qualifying. And he is now running in the podium positions in 3rd place. He managed to get his pit stop even though he missed out on it right at the start of the safety car. He's in a great position right now to really put some pressure on Joshua and Flying Jippo up in front. And I would imagine the safety car would be coming in at the end of this lap. Oof, a restart at Spain, that can also be a little bit dangerous, could be very close, and it is definitely going to be exciting. Let's see what's going to happen here.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got Joshua, who started 7th, he's up in 2nd place now, and Ben Swervin started 11th and he's up in 4th. So those 3 guys behind Flying Jippo have all had a pretty good time in this race so far in terms of making positions up. But you've got the likes of Chargers down in 5th place. He started up in 2nd, so he'll be looking to catch up again to Flying Jippo potentially. Stanley, who started 3rd, he's had a pretty disappointing race so far, and he's dropped 9 positions back to 12th place, but this potentially gives him a chance to redeem himself as well, because everyone ahead is close, so if he can make some overtakes, he could make up some positions. Safety car is coming in this lap.
And look at the mix of strategies of tires as well. We've got 3 runners in total on the whole grid on those mediums. That's Flying Jippo, Asio, and Chargers. Everyone else on that hard tire. So let's see who's made the right call here. Can Flying Jippo, Osseo, and Chargers make those mediums last until the end, and can they make them last and make them quick? So that is going to be the question here. It looks like Flying Jippo is now thinking about getting back on it. He is getting back. Oh my goodness, Osseo almost lost the back of the car coming around the last corner. This is going to lose him some time, but Ben Swerven was sleeping on that restart, and so was everybody else behind them. So Mr. Joshua and Flying Jippo are getting away.
Yeah, I wondered if Flying Jippo maybe had relaunched too soon, as we've seen previously in Golden Class, because if you're too close to the safety car on the restart, then the game automatically slows you down. But it looks like Flying Jippo actually timed that perfectly, and he's already pulled out a second ahead of Mr. Joshua at the moment. Not Mr. Osseo, just Osseo, is another 7/10 back at this stage.
And this is going to bring the cars back up together now. After the restart, we might get some more battling going on. There's definitely already battling going on between Aerofisson and Golderator, trying to make his way back up the grid. He definitely didn't seem like he won a lot of time on that safety car. Sort of hurt him a little bit, as it helped out everybody else there, but he's closing up to Golderator as much as he can right now. He's only within a couple of tenths of a second there before they came into the braking zone. Now Flying Jippo pulled out 2.4 seconds already on Mr. Joshua. Osseo, though, still sticking to the back of Joshua here, and if he can manage to stick behind him for long enough, he'll have DRS again.
Fastest lap from Flying Jippo, 1:17.9. There's no DRS on this lap, although Osseo has got overtaking Gage and is making a move for second place, and that was quite a clean move there from Osseo. The man who started in 15th place is now in second place in this Grand Prix. That's incredible.
Yeah, the Spanish Grand Prix is definitely not disappointing us at this moment, with all of this battling going on, with all of this excitement and drama that we had just a few laps ago, with ISRL Knight crashing out of the race, having a little bit of a tap there, losing the back, and then the AI causing everyone to have a safety car on the track. Oh my goodness, there, Ben Swerven went really wide through turns 7 and 8, and Chargers was thinking about a move, but not quite close enough. No DRS enabled just yet. It will be enabled once we go on to the next lap, though, and that's when we will see some people trying to make moves, and that will be exciting. So let's hang around here with Chargers, as he's still within half a second of Ben Swerven. They're gonna come across the line here in just a few moments, and we should see that message come up that the DRS will be enabled. Flying Jippo, another fastest lap, 1:17.878.
Yeah, and I'm just watching Stanley in 11th, and you having a giggle, mate, in 10th. You having a giggle got very sideways there, coming out of the final chicane. But it doesn't look like DRS is activated yet, because Stanley hasn't got the wing open, and you having a giggle has held on to 10th place. And Diego is pitting from 13th as well.
Not sure what happened to Diego there. He might need another front wing. Restarts
Sorry, I feel like that might have been a drive-through, just because he didn't seem to be in the pits for very long.
Oh yeah, and come to think of it,
M9H has served his as well.
Yeah, I was just gonna say M9H Racing had one of those as well, so that might have been it. Definitely looks like DRS has now finally been enabled. Chargers had the DRS and Ben Swerven into turn 10, but wasn't close enough. Mr. Joshua is pulling out of the DRS zone of Ben Swerven, and Osseo is pulling out of the DRS zone of Mr. Joshua at the same time. So again, this is getting very, very tight at the front there, but Flying Jippo 3.8 seconds ahead of all of them, and in a very good position. That safety car definitely really helped him out here. Now here goes Chargers on Ben Swerven on the start-finish straight and into turn 1, and before they even make it there, he's up into 4th place.
And Stanley managed to get ahead of you having a giggle on the last lap as well, so he's up into the points, a few seconds behind Seagreased. Just thinking that for Flying Jippo, I mean, Osseo, as it stands, is obviously going to get driver of the day for his superb comeback, but in any other situation, Flying Jibber would have to be a contender for driver of the day, because he's just been so quick throughout the whole race and in qualifying. He's been really dominant so far, and I don't know how many laps ago the safety car came in, but he's opened up a 4-second gap already on Asio in second place. So really impressive drive here from Flying Jippo at the moment.
Yeah, I think Flying Jippo should possibly be a contender for just Platinum class. Maybe, you know, he can be knocking on the doorstep of some of the people in there, and that could be very exciting to watch. But this is Season 10, and I've already said this before. I think Season 10 is a nice round number to have on your name as a champion, no matter what class you're in. So if Flying Jippo can keep on with the performance that he's shown over the few rounds of the first few rounds of the season, there is no doubt in my mind that he can definitely go on to win the championship in Season 10. He's done an incredible job, as you already said, and proving here tonight again why he is out there in the championship lead, and just absolutely incredible driving from him every single week.
Yeah, and you know, it's the mark of a champion to just be able to lead a race and drive away from everyone and control the pace, which is what we're seeing from Flying Jippo at the moment. So yeah, really impressive driving from him. Bam Bam has just overtaken Ben Swerven for 5th place, so Ben Swerven I think has dropped back a couple of positions since the safety car restart, and he now has Golderator, Arrowfisten and Seagreased in close attendance behind him. This is the battle for 6th place at the moment.
Arrowfisten and Golderator and Seagreased all very, very tight and very close to each other still, as they're not coming to the end of lap 23, and they're gonna, or 22, sorry, and they're gonna go on to their lap 23. Flying Jippo very nicely ahead of everyone. Let's take a look to the gap to the leader. So yeah, this battle for 6th is 10 seconds behind the leaders. So very impressive. And Joshua 6 seconds behind Charger 7.
Golderator spun round. Golderator spun round on the turn 2 curb, and that's going to drop him probably out of the points. A collision with TCR F1 Racer, as Golderator was rejoining the track, and Golderator gets a 5-second penalty for that as well.
F1 Racer very luckily doesn't seem to have any sort of damage from that, but that was very, very dangerous from Golderator. That rejoin back on track caused almost a couple of serious incidents, and Golderator has massive damage. He will have to definitely pit and get a brand new front wing, because he's barely making it around the track here right now. Going back to our intervals between players right now, looks like Chargers is trying to close up the gap now on Joshua for that last podium position. That would be very exciting to see if they can do that. Arrowfisten and Seagreased are still right behind Ben Swerven and trying to overtake him for that 6th position. They're now going to have DRS on the start-finish straight. Here goes Arrowfisten. Where is Seagreased? He's right behind them, but he's not going to be close enough to make a move on this one. So Arrow into 6th, Ben Swerven into 7th. Oh my goodness there. Seagreased having to slam on the brakes, almost hitting the back of Ben Swerven into turn 1.
Yeah, and we've got Chargers as well, close up behind Mr. Joshua for the final spot on the podium. Chargers, who started in 2nd place, so he's looking to make up some of the ground he's lost and get a podium from here. He's on the mediums, and I think Joshua ahead of him is on the hard tyres. Is that right? Yep. So he has the pace advantage in that sense, and he has DRS open at the moment, and he has about 25% of ERS, so you'd imagine he'll be able to get the move done here on the pit straight.
And in the meantime there, Seagreased made a move on Ben Swerven into turn 7 and 8, but then he touched the inside curve of turn 8 and spun the car out a little bit, went onto the grass, and Ben Swerven retook 7th place back away from him. Now they're back onto the start-finish straight again, and Chargers, it looks like, is going to be making a move now on Joshua. He is, and he's up into 3rd place.
Yeah, that was a pretty straightforward move there for Chargers. Once he had the DRS open, he just had so much more speed than Mr. Joshua. Wasn't really anything that Joshua could do about that move. So Chargers has got 2 seconds now to make up to Asio if he wants to recover to his starting position.
TCR F1 racer lost a couple of positions there when he got tangled up with Golderator, who came back on the track. Golderator is now DNF'd from the race in the pits, so he has had enough of today. I guess that spin really threw him off and was very unfortunate to watch, but this is what happens sometimes in league racing, especially when you're doing one of the longer Grand Prix like we are today, 33 laps in Spain here. A normal race distance would be 66 laps, which would be very, very long for a lot of the real life drivers. But even in the sim racing world, you just gotta have that focus, and it just comes with, I guess, just practice and doing a lot of laps and doing some practice races and things like that. But I guess sometimes you just make a tiny little mistake, and that is all that it takes to end your race here. Aero Fizzet now trying to close up on Bam Bam. He's right on the back wing into turn 1. Not going to be close enough just yet as they're going up through turn 2 and 3. And I just absolutely love the run through turn 3 here. When you get it absolutely right, it just feels like the car gets slingshot around there. And I would say almost around every single corner here. If you get the line right, if you get your braking right, you just get that little slingshot effect of the back trying to sort of swing you around the corner. I really enjoy driving around here. How about you, Chatty?
Yeah, it's one of those tracks, like in real Formula One, the drivers have raced it to death or done, so many laps because they do testing here as well. So they're probably just a bit fed up of it. But in terms of the game, like, it does actually have quite a nice feel to it, and there are some really nice high-speed corners here. Like you mentioned, turn 3. And then is it turn 9 after the chicane, the flat out right-hander? That's a really satisfying corner. The only thing I feel is a shame is that they ever changed the layout for the third sector, because that used to be 2 flat out right-hand corners, which was super fun. And now we've got the really slow chicane towards the end of the lap. But yeah, it's certainly in terms of the game, I'd say that Spain is certainly a fun one to drive, for sure.
Aerofisten and Bam Bam still battling for that 5th position. It has been a very close fight here. For one point there, Aero was down to just a couple of tenths, but it's just, there's only really a couple of overtaking spots here on this track unless you're very, very close behind somebody and you can make it into one of the harder braking zones. So we're gonna have to wait and see when Aero is gonna make that move. Just as a reminder, last night in Silver there was a massive battle in the last couple of laps for the lead of the race, and the person in second, the driver in second, decided to wait until pretty much 3 corners to go to try and make a move, and let me just say, it did not work out for either one of them. So you can't really wait around here. You do have to close in, make it consistent, just close up that gap, and then make a move whenever you have the chance. So Aero cannot wait for too long. He's gonna have to decide when to make that move here. We're now on lap 28 of 33, so even though it's one of the longer Grand Prix, it is flying by here very, very quickly. And speaking of flying Jippo still in the lead of this race, 6.5 seconds ahead of Ossio in second, Chargers in third, 2 seconds behind him, and Joshua, even though he's been passed by Chargers for that 3rd position, he's been within about half a second of him for the last few laps and still has a chance on those hard tires to possibly overtake Chargers when those mediums start fading off.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and Joshua has held on to a lot of ERS. He's still up in like the 80 to 90% range for ERS at the moment, so 5 laps to go, and yeah, you'd imagine that Charger's tyres are going to start to go off in the next few laps, while Joshua's should be more durable. So as long as he can stay within a second and be mindful of using his ERS at the right time, then he definitely has a shot of regaining at third place towards the end of the race.
Let's see if Arrow is finally going to get a good run here on the start-finish straight on Bam Bam. He doesn't seem to be closing up a lot of time. He's not using his overtake right now. He's only down to about 14%. And he was using the DRS, but it was just not enough. I think what you mentioned, Shadi, at the very start of the stream, the setup here today, I think a lot of drivers are running a lot of different setups. Some of them are more suited, I guess, for the cornering around here. Some of them might be more suited for that massive straight at the start-finish to give you a really good run. I guess it also depends on driving style. A lot of drivers drive differently with their setups and the way that they handle the car on the track. But yeah, I think in that particular case there between Arrow and Bam Bam, Bam Bam has a really good setup that allows him to have a really good straight line speed that even with DRS and ERS enabled, Arrow is just struggling to close up. He's now closing up into turn 10, but he's still got a few more corners to go until he's going to have another DRS zone. He's at 24%, 25% of ERS. Is that going to be all enough? We're now on lap 30 of 33, so not much time left here. Let's see this battle for 5th position. It seems to be the closest one on track right now.
Yeah, and Bam Bam looks like he's got a much better exit there than Arrow. Arrow is closing in now with DRS, but he's not going to be close enough, which kind of just confirms what you said, Blin, that it could be that Bam Bam has got a more of a speedy setup in a straight line. And this is one of the things about online racing as well. If you're a Formula 1 driver, the car setup is something like it's a team effort, right? Because you obviously have input from the driver, but you have all the team engineers as well who can probably have their say on what they think will be the most effective for qualifying and also for the race. If you're racing online on the F1 game, you have to make all of these kinds of decisions for yourself, and it can be a bit of a headache deciding between the optimum setup for you know, do you go for outright quali pace, or do you go for maybe a bit more straight line speed so you can attack or defend in a race situation? So, and that's certainly the case at this track, which is very technical for the most part, but does have a very long pit straight with DRS.
Let's see if this is going to be another good chance here. Bam Bam almost losing the car there. It did get a little bit wiggly on him onto the start-finish straight, but again, just not enough. It looks like Joshua and Chargers have swapped positions now, and Joshua is still fighting alongside him now as they're coming through turn 3. They're still a little bit side by side there, but now Chargers has to swap back into 4th position. Joshua into 3rd, so overtaking there, like we were saying, with possibly now the tire compounds fading off a little bit, and yeah, Joshua was able to hold on to the pace that his hard tires are giving him.
Yep, so that looks like it was a good decision from Joshua to go for the hards instead of the mediums. 3 of the front 4 runners are on those mediums, and Joshua is leading the way in terms of hard tyre runners currently. And I mean, there's a couple of laps to go. Maybe he could set his sights on Asio. We'll have to wait and see what kind of lap times he can do.
Well, you can definitely see Asio now right in front of him, and I'll tell you what, he's closed up a couple of tenths there, but then he locked up into, it looked like turn 16 or 14 there, and he's lost those 2 tenths again, but he's 2 seconds behind Asio. He's pulling away from Chargers. If he can really put the hammer down for just a couple of laps here, he might be able to close up right to the back of Asio and possibly ruin Asio's day a little bit, but I think Asio still is going to get the driver of the day here tonight. Absolutely just doing an incredible job, starting at the back of the grid and making his way up into 2nd position right now with just a couple of laps to go in this race in round 7 here in Golden Class in TCR Season 10. Everybody that's been watching so far, if you guys are still watching, thank you guys so much. Leave us a like, send in some more comments, and yeah, subscribe to the channel if you guys have not yet. But this has been one of the better Grand Prix this season, I really gotta say. It's been a very, very exciting one. There's been some drama, there's been a lot of on-track battles, and they're not over yet. Arrow, Fizzen, and Bam Bam still battling. They've been battling pretty much for the last 10 laps or so since the safety car came back in. And yeah, Arrow is still not letting up on Bam Bam, but Bam Bam just seems to get better exits out of the last corner, and that is what not letting Arrow get right up close to him. He's now 6 tenths behind as he comes into the DRS zone, and into turn 1, he's only going to be about 4 tenths behind, so it's just not close enough.
Yeah, Arrow must be starting to feel a bit like Max Verstappen in that Red Bull, you know, getting between the two Mercedes cars, but kind of knowing that he can't really do a hell of a lot about the one that is in front of him, even when he's this close. So I just hope that he doesn't get desperate for that move and throw it all away on what is the last lap now of this Grand Prix. He's probably really only got one chance left in the second DRS straight, which they're just coming up to now. So we'll just have to wait and see now as they come through the flat out right-hander, and Arrow has got the DRS open, but he's not close enough.
And in the meantime, the man of the day once again, Flying Jippo, making his way around the last corner of this Grand Prix right now and about to cross the line, and he is weaving around. He's definitely happy with this one, and this is going to be another win for him and a good recovery after last week's Grand Prix in Spa where he did not score any points. Asio in second place, recovering from the back of the grid. Beautiful Grand Prix from him. Joshua in third, Chargers in fourth, could not hold on to that last step of the podium. Bam Bam in fifth, Arrow Fix is going to be in sixth, was not close enough to pass Bam Bam. Zegri seventh, Stanley eighth, Ben Swerven in ninth. M9H Racing is about to finish in 10th position for the last point finish here. F1 Racer and Diego are going to be rounding up the last couple of positions here in 11th and 12th, and I'm sure they will not be happy with that one. Diego is a reserve driver, but F1 Racer, of course, came together with Golderator as Golderator came back onto the track after having a spin, so very unfortunate for him there. But wow, Flying Jippo, what a dominating Grand Prix. 6 seconds clear of Asio at the end, and just, you know, pole position and everything going his way. That safety car, at first it seemed like it was going to ruin it for him, but it still came all together for Flying Jippo here tonight, and there we go, Asio 04 getting driver of the day, and very, very deserving so.
Yeah, surely no arguments with that for Asio to be driver of the day. But Flying Jippo, who's just joined us here in the chat party, fantastic driver, has to be said. Really dominant.
And it's an all-USA podium there. I saw 3 American flags, so that is very impressive. I'm sure the American drivers of the league will be very happy with that, and nice race here tonight. There was a lot of battling on track. There was a lot of interesting moments. Flying Jippo, he was pole position. He had the race pretty much from start to finish. He has best lap with a 117.75 and the win here today. Just absolutely incredible. Asio in second, Joshua in third, Chargers in fourth, Bam Bam in fifth, Arrow in sixth, Zegrease in seventh, Stanley in 8th, Ben Swerven in 9th, and M9H Racing for the last point here in 10th, F1 Racer and Diego in 11th and 12th, and then we had You Having the Giggle in 13th, Golderator and Knight not making it to the end of the race here. But wow, that was just absolutely incredible. That safety car definitely shook things up. I was not expecting that, and of course, you know, I don't think Knight or anybody else was really expecting that to happen there. We do have Flying Jippo with us already in the party. Flying Jippo, congratulations. Do you want to walk us through that one?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little quiet, but we can hear you.
Let me just put my mic closer to the mic. My mic is really bad, sorry. Yeah, no, it was great. I'm really happy that I could win this race, because last race at Spa, I really threw that away. I could have won it, and I threw it away. So I'm just, you know, comeback. I'm really happy with that. I pretty much dominated everyone and everything in that race, and I'm just incredibly happy that once again I get the win another race, and I get to extend my championship advantage. Yeah.
Jippo, would you say that you're quite comfortable at the front? Like, I mean, obviously everyone would love to be at the front, but you seem to really excel in that position and just set great lap times.
Yeah, I'm one of my best things about my driving style is my consistency. I'm always, if I can set a lap, I can continuously set that lap, and that's why I set a fastest lap on I think my mediums are at like 30-40%. Um, I was full sending it because I just wanted to get as big as a gap as I could because I don't think you realize, but at the end my mediums were pretty much dead. That set was from qualifying. I used it and I spun around in it, so they were already kind of used when I switched onto them. So I was really scared that I wouldn't have made it to the end, and so that's why I was just setting, as many best laps as I could, and I made it work.
Yeah, great race, absolutely amazing, and like you said, it's a really nice recovery for you, especially after Spa. So you're gonna pull away again in the championship lead. Asio is closing in though. He's definitely showed us here today what he can do. Let's talk to him. Asio, second place for you here tonight after having started right at the back of the grid. So you must be happy with that. But you weren't quite close enough to Flying Jippo for the win, but definitely things went your way here today. What happened in qualifying first of all, and then let us know what happened in the race as well.
Yeah, thank you, by the way. In qualifying, I was going out on a second run on the medium set and spun it going through turn 2, and then as I was getting out of the way of one of the Red Bulls, and then also trying to turn around, it disqualified me for facing the wrong direction. So that was a little unfortunate, but I figured start on the hards and see how far I could take them. I was surprised no one else started on the hards in the back. Took a few places off the start, and then that safety car, I would have preferred it a few laps later, just so I could come home a little bit more comfortably on those mediums, because like Jippo said, they were kind of pushing it towards the end. But overall, I was pretty surprised with my pace. Little sad I didn't get started at the front though, then to see what I could have done. But overall, pretty happy.
Yeah, well, I remember at the time, Asio, when the safety car came out and you pitted onto the mediums and Flying Jippo as well. I was kind of thinking that maybe it was a bit of a risk, but you guys did manage to get that done, which is a great job from both of you. But the only other thing is that when the safety car came out, you'd actually just gone past the pit lane, which could have put you at a big disadvantage to the guys behind. So what was going through your mind at that particular point?
So before the race, I had kind of told myself like what if a safety car came out at this lap, if I was going to pit or not. And that I was thinking around like lap 18, 19, I'd pit onto the mediums there. But then it came out, I think, lap 15 or 16. And so I just went past the pit lane because I thought I was going to try to stretch it out. But then on that lap around, I figured it would kind of really screw me over if I didn't stop there. Still having to stop at one point, so I figured I would try to put on those mediums and then stretch it out as far as I could.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job. You also got driver of the day in this race and absolutely fully deserving of that. You're going to start closing up the gap up to Flying Jippo and the leaders of this championship at the moment. Do you think you can start putting some pressure on the front runners?
I mean, I feel like everyone would like to do that. Had a few couple bad races the past 2 or 3, but I have a few strong tracks coming up, so hopefully I can make the best of those and try to finish as high as I can in the table.
Well, congratulations on a great performance here today. And on the third side of the podium, I think it was Mr. Joshua, am I correct?
That's correct.
All right, Mr. Joshua, welcome to the podium commentary here, and congratulations on a third place finish here tonight. Very impressive from you. Tell us a little bit about your race from your perspective and what really went well for you.
Lap 1, this was the first time I've really experienced a dirty air, apparently, because I went way wide in turn 3. I just had no grip on the front end, so I lost about 3 positions on the start, but was able to make it up towards the end of the first stint, and I had about 1 or 2 more laps to go in before I went to the hards, and safety car came out. So it was I knew the people on the mediums would be fast for me off the start, so I was just trying to save up my ARS as much as I can and attack once theirs died off, and that's what I was able to do to get the 3rd place past Chargers there towards the end of the race.
Yeah, that's kind of along the lines of what I was probably going to ask you there, Joshua, because we noticed that Chargers had overtaken you for 3rd, but we kind of recognised in commentary that, you know, as long as you could keep within a second of him, the medium tyres were going to go off towards the end, and obviously the hards were just going to be more durable and keep on. Did you think that maybe you could have caught up to Asio at the end, or was that just a bit...
I think I needed about another 2 or 3 laps, and that would have been interesting because my front left on the hards was, I think, 56%. So I'm not sure what the guys on the mediums are, but I'm guessing they had to be 60s, 70s for their tire wear. So that would have been really interesting because I think I saw the first stint. I think I saw a puncture or 2 driving by some people. I think Stanley had a puncture, the Renault teammate. So punctures are a little more common on this game than the last, so I think it adds another interesting mix to it. But the guys were able to hold on. I'm just happy to get on the podium. This is my first year driving without the line, so I'm happy to get better, and hopefully I can be up here a few more times this year.
Absolutely, it would be great to see you up here. It's your first podium for this year, but hopefully not your last one. Congratulations on that 3rd place. Great drive from you. Yeah, just wanted to see, Chatty, like, do we have any more questions for any of our podium finishers?
No, I don't think so, but I'll just echo what you said, and congratulations to you 3 guys on a great race tonight, and yeah, looking forward to seeing what you guys can do moving forward in this championship.
Alright, so that was a very good Grand Prix. It was definitely exciting for a Spanish Grand Prix. I thoroughly enjoyed that from start to finish. A little bit of drama, a lot of battles. If you guys missed out on it, definitely rewind back and rewatch it, and you'll definitely not regret it. It's been a great race here tonight in the Golden Class for round 7 of this season 10 in TCR Trinity Competitive Racing. Huge thank you to Chatty Duck for joining me here tonight for the commentary.
Yeah, thank you, Blin. Pleasure as always, and thanks to all the drivers in Gold Class and all the stewards and everyone involved in TCR.
And also a huge thank you to everybody who watched us tonight here. Definitely join us tomorrow night as well for the Platinum class here at Spain as well. It definitely is going to be another exciting Grand Prix if it's going to be like what we've seen so far in Silver and Gold class this week. Of course, we are going to be on a break for next week. We're giving all of our drivers a week off to sort of relax and sharpen up their driving skills again, and then we're going to be returning to Austria the week after that, so you will see Golden class again in another 2 weeks. But again, as I said, join tomorrow for Platinum class here in Barcelona, Catalonia. So from BLIN-MACHINE and Chatty Duck and everybody else in Golden class, all of our drivers, thank you guys so much for watching and for all of your comments that came in. Leave us a like, subscribe to the channel. Thank you Fanatec for being our affiliate sponsor and helping us out as well. If you guys want to help us out and support the league, go check out the link in the description to the video. So we will see you guys very soon. Thanks again for watching. Have a great night.